month the weather has finally started getting slightly nicer, and thank God, because I desperately needed it. This might be one of the more chaotic month recaps so far, so hopefully it's entertaining and easy enough to follow along with. I'm filming, editing, and uploading this video all today before going to a concert with my cousin, but you're gonna have to wait all month until the May recap to hear about that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So here is April. Okay, first, starting with recapping work, I've been feeling really motivated. I think I've settled into my role taking care of our home and working from home at the same time, and it feels really nice actually. So I felt ready to take on more work, and I did 2 hub uploads this month. Ideally, I will be uploading 2 hub videos every month from now on until further notice. I hope you guys are excited about that, because I sure am. The first hub video I did this month was actually requested a bunch of times by a bunch of different people. It was with the big black beads from one of my most recent how-to videos on here, actually. And that was a lot of fun. Even more fun, though, was convincing my boyfriend to join me on the hub this month. That's always kind of a rare occasion, so I really love it. And I love how that video turned out specifically. I've watched it countless times myself, honestly, so I really hope you guys are liking those videos and are looking forward to having 2 uploads every month now, again. On here, I had 2 brand collabs this month. There was Yo-Yo Lemon and Adore Me. Both went great, and I was more than happy with those. I truly love collaborating with brands and getting to play with toys that I honestly never would have gotten the chance to before. And of course, helping you guys out and giving advice too. That's always really fun. And then always even more fun than that is the more in-depth product reviews I do on Fansly. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about YouTube right now. So following that upload, I also did episode 8 to my Adult Store Stories playlist. I went to visit my old coworker, which was nice, and being in the store again was really weird. I only have 4 more Adult Store Stories videos planned though, because obviously now that I don't work there, I'm working with limited stories. But I promise that the last episodes have some of the best ones. They're gonna be really good. I did a little thrift haul video on here that I did not plan, actually. I love doing those try-on videos, and I know you guys love watching them too. I just honestly hadn't expected to buy enough items to end up doing a haul, but then I did, so it was all happy. I went with my mother-in-law, and it was lots of fun. I love shopping and clothing, but I hate spending my own money, of course, right? So when I find good deals thrifting, it's just the best thing. I tried on my bathing suits as well. I went through and decided to list a couple of them for sale on Sweeky and just narrow down my collection, get myself all excited for the summer, and you know, just get you guys all excited in general. If you know what I mean. I seriously love doing videos like that though, it's so much fun. And finally, I also did 2 MetaZoo pack unboxing videos. I know some of you guys couldn't care less about that stuff, but it's just like a little fun thing for me to do, and it was really sweet that my boyfriend participated, so. And of course, lastly, when it comes to recapping this month's content specifically, the Forever for Your Pleasure podcast. This month's story took place in a hotel. 2 girls filming some content together. I love doing those little fantasy stories, and the podcast has gotten more popular than I expected, actually, which is so cool. So thank you guys for that. Like, it's really, really cool. And I love when you guys love stuff that I do. So keep listening to it. Moving on from the content now, this is when the chaos starts. With the warmer weather, you know I'm getting up to way more than I was with the cold Canadian winter keeping me in my apartment. Well, alright, okay, obviously I was keeping up with the housework and everything, which is just never ending, but I feel like I've really found a rhythm to it, okay? So much so that I was able to give my brother some advice that actually worked for him. Like, he came back after and thanked me about it. So that must mean that I'm doing something right? It feels good at least. And speaking of spring cleaning, we also bought 2 new air conditioners for our apartment. So it's been so chilly and nice. These like in between seasons, when the weather changes like crazy, like every single day, it is so horrible living in an apartment with no control. And honestly, even my cats prefer the cold too, which is weird. Usually you see cats like laying in the sun and stuff, but no, my cats grew up in a basement. They do not like warmth. It's really strange. I actually had to give both of them baths and haircuts this month because they're just so nasty and don't take care of themselves. But God love them, even though they're being evil lately. My boyfriend and his friends decided to have 0 brain cells and did some dumb shit, but I'm not even gonna talk about it. But I love that me and the other girlfriends are close enough to kind of hang out and talk sometimes, and like I've always really struggled with kind of making friends, so it helps that we're like always grouped together. And I don't know if that's like a typical way to make friends, but if I just keep collecting all of my boyfriend's friends' girlfriends, I don't mind. It's kind of fun, I don't know. The farmer's market has been one of our favorite things to do lately. So many cool vendors with stuff that both me and him like. I love looking at the food and crystals and clothing, and he likes looking at the food and stuff too, but his latest obsession is actually retro video games. And we've been going to like so many different spots trying to hunt down super specific old games and that he wants that are like so obscure. And honestly, I'm actually loving it. I'm supportive, you know, he's happy, right? And I do enjoy going out for drives and checking out new places, discovering new places. So I don't mind. The most expensive game he's gotten so far was $220, and he told me that was a good price for it, and like I can't even wrap my head around that, but whatever, he's happy. And also just buying all the consoles and stuff, it's insane. But getting all excited about all this new old stuff though, I really should figure out how to do more content playing games, because it's so fun. It would be so fun, and he's always telling me I should. It would be really cool. Me and a friend went to yoga class every Tuesday this month, and quite honestly, I cannot express how thankful I am for that. Spending girl time together and having like designated time to force myself to relax and be at peace with the chaos in my head every day, it truly helps get me through some of the tougher times. So hopefully we're gonna find some outdoors yoga to try, and we also want to try hot yoga, which I think is like so weird, but we have to try it at least once, right? Like, I don't know, everyone's done hot yoga, right? I don't know, maybe I made that up in my head. We're gonna try it once. I also did register for therapy again. It's taking a while to connect me to someone, I guess, but I was proud of myself for just taking that step. It's less scary than my first time, but maybe more frustrating. I don't know. It's not like I was thinking like, oh, I'll never go back to therapy again. I guess maybe I just didn't expect it to be so soon, I guess. I don't know. And obviously therapy is good, but does anyone necessarily want to go to therapy? I don't know. I just want my brain to function better. Also, there's like so much for me to dig through and fix. At this point, I'm exhausted just thinking about it. Like, everything is a shit show. I can't pinpoint one issue, like my entire life has been the issue. So a lot of rebuilding and figuring shit out. I feel pretty broken lately, but even just working through things on my own while I'm waiting for a therapist, I'm really proud of myself for getting through the bad days and still managing to have good days. I think that's a really important thing to acknowledge. I've been journaling a lot lately, and I think I might try writing poetry. I don't know if I'll be any good at it. I don't know if I'll share any of it, but it seemed important to mention that for whatever reason. I've also been very spiritual lately as well, and I feel like I kind of have to be. Obviously, Easter weekend was this month, and that was crazy. We drove my boyfriend's dad across the border and left him there. Left him and his girlfriend there. He went to gamble, so we offered to drive them and pick them up on the Monday. And I love road trips, so sitting in the car for like 9 hours was actually a perfect day for me. Oh, and on that topic, we're planning a trip to Vegas again, actually, and I'll share more details about that as we plan it and get closer to the date and everything. Right now, all I know, though, is that we're really driving all the way there and back. It's gonna be absolutely insane, but I cannot wait. I honestly thought I was only gonna go to Vegas once ever in my life and never again. So getting this opportunity is actually really cool, and I can't wait to make the most of it. And I'm gonna take so many pictures and videos, just like last time. But anyway, that was kind of jumping around a little bit. After that day of driving to Detroit and back, we had a friend hosting a Easter dinner to go to, so we got super drunk and I passed out at the table while everyone was eating, which is pretty embarrassing. Food wasn't ready until like midnight, so it's not like it was like 6 p.m. and I'm like passed out drunk, like it was like later at night, because they were taking their time. They wanted to perfect the pulled pork, okay? It turned out great though. Everyone was super happy with it, but that's kind of embarrassing that I passed out at the table. But anyway, you aren't supposed to show up to a party empty-handed, so I had made some potato salad, and that was really good, and some homemade brownies, and both were just a huge hit, so I loved that. And the next day, all hungover, we had a family brunch to go to, and it was great. There was so much food. It was like an all-you-can-eat breakfast display, but just for my family. Like, I was so impressed with how my mom set it up. It sucked because I was like so hungover though and felt like shit, and it was so hard to eat and talk to people and function, but it was also just nice to be there. So yeah, and I had brought brownies to that function as well, and everyone loved them there as well. And I'd never even tried the recipe before, so I was like really happy that it worked out. It was super easy and super tasty, and I'm gonna have to make them again soon because I barely even got one on my own. I did also bake a cake though, just for fun. My boyfriend had picked out the flavor and I'd never tried it before, but it was pretty good. It was cherry chip, it was super easy to make, and then it turned out really ugly. But that's just because despite my best efforts, I am not any sort of cake decorator. But it was tasty, and I did that for cake and cunnilingus day, of course. My boyfriend had also requested that we make pizza, and that turned out so good, and it was so fun. If you haven't ever tried doing that, you should, because it's actually really easy. I made the dough from scratch, and we put all our toppings on together and everything, and it was just really lovely, and I swear it wasn't even hard to do, and it tasted a million times better than ordering it. I'm not even over-exaggerating. And, like, I actually don't know if I'll ever order pizza again, quite honestly, unless I'm being really lazy, but, like, it was so worth it. I had only made, like, one little tiny mistake, and I had put garlic oil on the crust before cooking it instead of after, so it ended up, like, very, very slightly burnt just on top, and, like, I could scrape it off, like, it was, like, not even bad, but other than that, it was completely perfect, so now that I know not to make that mistake again, I can't wait to do it again. Now moving on to the next weekend, we went to my boyfriend's dad's for Easter dinner on that weekend instead of the one before. It's very important to be close with family when you're going through hard times. It's such a complicated thing, but when you feel supported and loved by the people who are supposed to, it just makes everything easier, you know? That's something I've been working on myself, actually. I'm trying to heal and bond with my own family again a little bit more. Now that I'm kind of an adult, hold myself accountable a little bit, try and work on those relationships myself. Immediately after that dinner, we drove up north. If you've watched my month recaps, you know what I'm talking about already, but just to refresh if you don't know what I'm talking about, my boyfriend has family property up north, and we go there practically every weekend in the summer. It's by the beach, and it's just like the best thing ever. So even though we were running around like crazy, it was really important for us to get up there and just be able to really unwind. It's like so healing for our mental health to just escape this city and the bullshit of life and just be up there and just be for a while, for a weekend at least. It didn't exactly stay relaxing though, because again, we got too drunk after our late night barbecue, and I ended up sleeping on the floor. Are you kidding me? My boyfriend was passed out in bed with his damn dog cuddled up beside him instead of me. Oh my god. And then we ended up leaving really early the next morning, which kind of sucked because we were hoping to make a whole day of it, but honestly we felt like shit, so we just wanted to go back home. And then I decided I wanted a cigarette on the drive back, and that was a mistake. It like speed ran my hangover, and this is so gross, but I ended up puking on the side of the road twice. Crazy. Crazy times. I don't do stuff like this very often, but I've just been trying to have some fun and live my life lately, you know? And then we went back up north for Arbor Day too. That's actually why I am posting this a little bit later than normal. Why I didn't post it yesterday, because I wanted to just be able to give the full recap, and that included what all went down yesterday too. So things got a little carried away again that weekend, I'll admit, even though I just said I don't do that stuff a lot. We bought a ton of weed because it's way cheaper out there rather than in the city. So that was nice. And then after a long day of planting trees in the mud and the rain and just being a mess, it was fun to continue being a mess and get drunk to end the night, okay? But this weekend wasn't even about that. If you know anything about me, I love trees and gardening and nature so much, and this was my first Arbor Day that I actually got to participate in. And it's such a huge deal out in the country, I guess, because that's when everyone goes and buys their little tiny $2 sapling trees for their privacy property lines. So in years and years and years, when the trees have grown up, they have a natural fence, right? And that's exactly what we did, pretty much. We bought a bunch of trees and planted a bunch of trees, and I just can't wait to watch them grow and grow and grow over the years. And I kept crying because it was just that big of a deal to me. Like, it was such a spiritual experience, and I really hope I can do that every year, really. And then that does lead me to a plants update, actually, my little windowsill garden in my apartment. My babies were thriving now that they can see the sun again. They're still doing great, but of course my cats had to go through a phase of being bad and started to eat all my plants suddenly. Like, they'll go and they'll be perfectly fine, and then just suddenly all my plants will be gone and munched down. It's like, really? I have everything barricaded, and I have it so it's so hard for the cats to get to it, and they still do it. It's ridiculous. I'm actually mad about it a little bit. But anyway, my bush beans, my bell peppers, and my parsley seem to be doing really, really good right now. They're doing the best so far. So I'm hoping I can get some good little harvests out of stuff this summer. I also planted a bunch of seeds. I wanted to plant them up north during Arbor Day as well, but they're not ready yet. So I'm still growing them a little bit, let them get a little bigger before I put them in the earth. But I can't wait to go back up there and do that. It's stuff that I can't really grow in the apartment that, like, I've tried and it just doesn't work. Like pole beans, cherry tomatoes, and I also have some extra pepper plants and stuff, and it's just like, might as well. I already have like 5 of my own, right? And I got actually a free flower pack from the farmer's market. And personally, I don't usually care about flowers, like, at all. I'd much rather grow like food and stuff that I consider more practical. But they were free, so I was like, well, I might as well take it. And they'll be super pretty when they bloom. And my mother-in-law actually made me cry about that. Not on purpose, not in a mean way, but I was just being really sensitive. She reminded me how much bees love flowers and that the bees need flowers. And I just started to cry because I love bees so much. And I'm just glad I could do that for them. I'm like really emotional. I don't know if you guys got that vibe. I've been thinking about religion a lot lately, something people do when they go through hard times, right? And I've always loved all religions. I find them so fascinating and beautiful. Myself, I am spiritual, I am pagan, but I think they're all the same in the end. It's strange though, because for whatever reason, in this time, I find that my own spirituality is speaking to me through Christianity. That might be a little confusing. It's like, it's not in the way that you would think. It's like, I almost just like to watch people practicing their faith, and Christians have always been pretty good at showing up, right? So watching people practice gives me hope, almost. Maybe because they're like so delusional that I'm like, I can convince myself the same. And I really say that with love. I know that doesn't sound nice, but I say that with love because I've been watching these religious practicing people, and some of them truly seem like the happiest people on the planet. The ones who practice spirituality correctly, in my opinion, not the ones who are bigots and whatever. And no, it's not because their lives are all fantastic and perfect, but it's because they are so delusional in their faith I think there's something to it. I say that with love. I have been working on accepting my life and loving it regardless of all the crazy, because the universe has what's meant to happen in store for me, and it's not in my control, and it never has been. And I almost think that's kind of what is drawing me towards spirituality right now. I think there's something to it. I don't know. But it's helping, at least, so don't question it, I guess. And then, so of course, right after talking about that, just to see the contrast in my mind, super cool, I learned about Killdozer. Oh, shout out Marvin Heemeyer, I guess. Now, that guy kind of did the opposite of just accepting what happens in life, but, you know, he went out fighting his ass off, and that is very respectable, in my opinion. So just super cool to learn about that, I guess. And usually I see protesters and I think they're annoying and stupid and whatever, but I saw this one individual guy this month actually and thought he was so cool. He was dressed up in his full military uniform and was holding a flag by himself and had a bunch of posters and stuff around him, just like right by the side of the highway. And it definitely made a statement, and I thought it was just really cool to see. I also, you know, he waved at me, so that wins him some extra points. Cool guy. I don't know. Protests, when done correctly, I think are so cool. But it's rare that happens, that a protest is actually moving. I don't know. Usually it's just bullshit. But that has been my month. No clue what all next month has in store in comparison. I've actually mentioned before that May is my least favorite month because it actually has 2 huge trauma anniversaries for me, so I'm kind of expecting to be losing my mind the whole month, probably. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'll be able to balance it out by doing lots of fun stuff though, and I can't wait to update you guys again, so thanks for watching. Bye! I'm going to a concert.